Namaste students. Today we are going to discuss a poem, and the name of the poem is A Tiger in the Zoo, written by George Leslie Norris. The poem written by Leslie Norris explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo. The poet explains what his life could be if he had been a free animal. The poet has tried to explain about the condition of animals that are caged by human beings for their own fun. Now let us see the poetry. Let's see the first paragraph. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on paths of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Here the meaning of stalk means to follow. Vivid means bright colored. Paths means paws of tiger. Rage means anger. In the first paragraph, through these lines, the poet says that the tiger that is confined in the zoo moves around in the cage under his bright colored skin. He further says that the tiger can take only a few steps because the cage is small and it is not easy to move in it. One cannot hear his footsteps because he has very soft feet like velvet, because of which there is no sound of the tiger's footsteps. The tiger tries to control his anger by quietly walking in the limited area of his cage. He is angry because he is not free. Now let us see the literary devices that we find in the first paragraph. Firstly, the rhyme scheme. Now what is the rhyme scheme applied here? A, B, C, B. Cage, rage. Another literary device we can see is that the poet is comparing the tiger with human nature, as he said, as the poet is referring the tiger as he. As we all know, personification means giving human qualities to animals or inanimate objects. When we give human qualities to animals or inanimate objects or trees or anything around the nature which is not human, but we give them human qualities, that is known as personification. Here the poet has referred the tiger as he, and that's why we can see another literary device, that is personification. The tiger is personified as the poet has referred him as he. The tiger's paws are compared with velvet, and again we see the poet has compared the tiger's feet, the paws of the tiger, with that of a velvet, but without saying that the feet of the tiger or the pads of tigers looks like velvet. Directly he is giving the comparison as pads of velvet. So these kind of direct comparison is known as metaphor. When we don't say the feet of tiger or the foot of tiger looks like velvet, he's not using like. Okay, directly he's making some direct comparison, and that is known as metaphor. Next we see sentence continuing to the next line without any punctuation mark. The first line, he stalks in his vivid stripes, without any punctuation mark. It is continuing to the next line, and in the next line only we can see a comma. So this is known as enjambment. Next we see the poet tries to create an image about the tiger. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage. Now in this line the poet is trying to give an idea to the reader. Now when we are reading this line, we can easily visualize the tiger with bright colored stripes. So this image that the poet is giving to us is known as imagery. Next literary device we see is the S sound. In the first line, stalks his stripes. The S sound. S sound is very, very dominant here, and that is known as consonance. Consonance is another literary device. Next we see use of the I sound in his vivid stripes. I sound. So this is known as assonance. Use of vowel sound I, or any dominant vowel sound if you find in a line, that is known as assonance. The last one is use of adjectives opposite in meaning. Now in the last line you can see quiet, rage. These two are adjectives, but both are opposite in meaning, trying to give one idea to the reader. Now this is known as oxymoron. When two adjectives with different meaning come together, okay, with opposite meaning come together to express one idea, that is known as oxymoron. For example, darkness, blind. Now let us move on to the second paragraph. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. Lurking means to hide in order to catch the prey. The way a tiger hides himself so that he can catch his prey easily in the jungle. Through these lines, the poet says that if this tiger was free, he would have hid himself behind the long grass near the water bodies so that he could easily catch a deer or any other wild animal in order to have it as its food. Basically, here the poet wants to say that the actual life of a tiger is to live in a jungle where he could catch his prey and eat it, but the tiger in the cage cannot do so. Now let us see the rhyme scheme in the second paragraph. Here it is A, B, C, B. Grass, pass. Again we find enjambment. Where we can find enjambment? In the second line you see sliding through long grass, no punctuation mark, near the water hole, no punctuation mark, where the plump deer pass. Only here we have full stop. So these two lines is referring to enjambment. Again, another literary device that we see here is that use of the sound P at the start of two words like plum, pass, plum, pass, and that is known as alliteration. That is known as alliteration. Use of the P sound, use of sound P at the start of two words. Okay, starting of the two words P, P, plum, pass. Alliteration means, alliteration, I think you all have come across what is alliteration. I'll give an example. She sells seashells in the seashore. So this is known as alliteration. Okay, here S sound is very, very prominent. Here is also plum, pass. So this is known as alliteration. Again we see the poet in the second paragraph has tried to create an image of tiger's activities in the line lurking in shadow. In the first line itself, the poet is trying to give us an image of a tiger that is lurking, means hiding inside the jungle, okay, behind the grasses, long deep grasses. The tiger is hiding himself in order to catch his prey. We can easily visualize the tiger's activities in the second paragraph. So here also we can see imagery. Imagery means giving an image of the tiger's activities. When the poet tries to give an image of certain things or animals, when we read the poetry, it becomes very easy for the reader to visualize. Okay, this sort of literary device is known as imagery. So that's all for today. The other 3 paragraphs we will discuss in our next class. Thank you.